Blues fans, you are going to love this news with the St. Louis Blues heading into next season with huge aspirations to make a deep run with star players ready to break out and huge updates on prospects looking into break into this team next season. We have so much to break down on the St. Louis Blues team heading into training camp, the preseason, and the regular season, which will have fans fired up. We got multiple things to break down in this episode, and you're not going to want to miss any of that. Before we get into that, if you're part of the 51% watching this and you haven't hit the sub button yet, and you want to stay up to date on everything to do around your St. Louis Blues, like I said, in training camp, going into preseason, and the regular season, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. It helps out a bunch, and in return, we'll keep you up to date all around the Blues. But Darius, let's just hop straight into this, because there's a lot to break down in this episode, where the first thing we see, Jimmy Snuggerud getting in with the Blues in action with his new jersey in the training camp, going into the prospect showcase. What is your thoughts on Snuggerud just kind of getting a media tour? We're seeing him go into training camp. We're seeing him at the prospects tournament with the teams as well. What is your overall thoughts on just Snuggerud's performance in the season, and what do you expect going into next year?
Well, first of all, Mark, I had to put on my shades. If you can go back to the jersey, man, the jerseys are looking sharp. That's our first, I guess, official look in full uniform, ready to go on the ice, the new St. Louis Blues uniform. I say it's new, obviously a bit of a different design than the original concept, but obviously going back to their roots back in the 60s and what we know to be the St. Louis Blues uniforms. They look very sharp. And obviously Jimmy Snuggerud sporting that. The rookie showcase is on the way. This is a guy that's going to have to step up big this season, I think. I think he's going to start, or at least he's penciled in on the first line, and a lot of Blues fans are very excited about him. We've talked about him ad nauseum at this point during the offseason. We're just really excited for the preseason to start and get that going, to see what he can actually do at the NHL level over a larger sample size. Obviously, half a point a game player in both the regular season and the playoffs last year, which the playoffs, very impressive to me. He did not look like he didn't belong. So very good stuff. And he is definitely, like you see here, going to be an X factor heading into next year, because we know what that second line is capable of with Kyrou on the right wing. What is that first line with a guy like Robert Thomas, who has a chip on his shoulder? He's looking to make Team Canada, the Olympic team. What are they going to do on that top line? What is Snuggerud capable of over the course of an 82 game regular season? So I'm excited to see. Again, it all starts with the showcase, prospect showcase, the rookie showcase. It's going to be exciting to see, but again, sharp jerseys. And I think a lot of Blues fans, I think the general consensus is like, those look awesome, and everyone can't wait to see them play in those.
And I think the big thing is seeing a full 82 games. I mean, just diving into his averages, if he played in a full 82 game season for the Blues last year, would be 47 points, including 12 goals, 35 assists. We're going to see the goal production go up. We've seen it really start in the playoffs as well. Scoring 2 goals in the playoffs in your rookie season is something that's hard to do. Getting the confidence, the mojo, the swagger of this kid is going to be very exciting. But Blues fans, keep getting excited, because we're finally getting the players on the ice. We can see, best thing you'll see all day with multiple new faces joining the team. We're seeing even Hofer getting on the ice. And listen, there's a lot of new faces joining the team. Bukestad's one, Pew Suter, even Mayu. But one guy I want to touch on in particular that I think is going to go into this season wanting to take the starting role is Hofer. We're seeing him get in on the early ice training before the preseason and training camp. What is your expectations with him coming in? Binnington's been a stellar goaltender, winning a cup, but with Hofer still being very young, he looks like the goalie of the future of this team.
Absolutely. And I do like what Doug Armstrong has done with the goaltending in terms of locking them both up for the same time period. If something were to go awry, they have to move off both guys. They can at the same time. They can rebuild their goaltending on the fly, similarly to what the Colorado Avalanche did last season at the same time. So I think that they have a lot of flexibility in that way, first of all, but that's a couple of years from now. What's going to happen this season? I think if you look at Jordan Binnington, we talked about him a couple of videos ago, right? And what he means to this team. Obviously, super solid goaltender. What he did after the Four Nations last year was unbelievable. What he did in the playoffs, like, he was stellar, right? Like, great goaltender, always really has been, and shows up in those big moments. There's so many players around the league that you cannot depend on in those moments. Jordan Binnington is the one guy you probably want in net, at least in terms of current goaltenders, in those situations. So he's been fantastic. But if you look at Hofer, this is a guy that is saying, I don't see a solidified number one in my eyes. I want to take over that net. I had a great season last year as well. Yes, I'm, technically labeled as the backup goaltender, but he wants to come out, he wants to have good performances and steal that net. He wants to be a starter in this league as well. And I think he's shown that he probably can at some point. And that obviously is a great thing for the Blues to have him as the backup goaltender, that second goaltender. But I think at some point, the plan here would be, he takes over. Jordan Binnington is getting a little bit older. He started his NHL career when he was a little bit older as well. So I think they're in good hands here in terms of goaltending for the immediate right now, and also in terms of flexibility with their contracts and hope for wanting to make an impact.
And I think the big thing is, listen, they could very much go in as a 1A, 1B goaltender going into the season. We know Binnington owns this crease. He is going to be the starting goaltender unless something happens to him, but he's going to go in game 1 of the playoffs, game 1 of the regular season. He's going to start, but I do think Hofer is going to slowly start inching towards trying to steal that position. Both guys are going to push themselves to the max. We see Hofer still 25, and the future of goaltending is great, but Blues fans, the biggest thing is we're finally getting hockey back very soon. I mean, we're seeing the new players, Bukestad coming in. We're seeing multiple Blues get back on the ice early for this team, Hofer as well. But it doesn't even stop there. This is the Blues team, and we're going to see a lot of action. I mean, we did kind of cover going into that we're going to see the prospect games for the prospect showcase as well, taking September 12th to 14th in Minnesota. I mean, we're going to see a lot of players, like on the screen here, trying to make an impact and make a push. Darius, how and what are you the most excited for? Obviously, game 1 of the season is going to be a big one, but going in, what prospect kind of stands out the most to you? And are you excited with the season just around the corner?
Well, you have the prospects that stand out above the rest in terms of name value. Jimmy Snuggerud, right? When you're looking at obviously now Justin Carbonneau, we know these are big names and these are guys that should rise above the rest of the crop, right? But what I'm looking for is how big is the gap? The Blues have so many prospects that we've covered this summer that can make an impact at the NHL level at some point. Like, how big is the gap? That's what I'm looking at. And, when a Justin Carbonneau has the puck and, he's skating towards, at least if they're doing scrimmages and stuff, and he's skating towards like an Adam Juracek, let's say, what does that look like, right? I'm very interested to see how far along some of the other prospects are in comparison to these guys that are very close to making the NHL, like a Dvorsky, let's say. How do players match up with him? How do they look in comparison to guys like that? How close are they? So that's one thing I'm looking forward to, and more specifically, Justin Carbonneau, right? We've talked about him all summer. The bull in the China shop. Take a shot if you're subscribed to the channel, but very excited to see how he looks in comparison to some other guys that maybe have a little bit of that NHL taste, that experience and pro hockey experience. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And again, you can check out the games on the Blues website. They're going to be, streaming everything. You can watch it for free, which is pretty cool. So hockey is back. The guys are back on the ice and should be a lot of fun.
And I think the biggest thing is seeing the prospects from different leagues kind of clash, and this is going to be fun going straight into the preseason, which we're going to see on the 20th. The first of the Dallas Stars. There's so much lining up, so much hockey to cover, and you guys aren't going to want to miss any of it because we're not going to miss any, and we're going to keep you up to date with that. But what is your guys' most exciting thing going into the summer? What is your thoughts on Snuggerud? What do you think he'll put up this season? Do you think he could crack a 50-point season? What is your thoughts on the players getting on the ice? How excited are you that hockey is back? Let us know down in the comments. And speaking of comments, we'll go straight into comments today. As a Blues fan living in Minnesota, thanks for talking about the prospect showcase. I'm really psyched to see all the Blues youngsters. Already have my ticket. Keep up the news on the prospects coming. And listen, we're not going to slow down on news anytime soon. Regular season, tournaments, anything in between, you can catch right here. So go ahead and leave a comment. You could be featured as a comment today. Hit the subscribe button if you made it this far. Listen, we're going to keep you up to date with the St. Louis Blues. But that'd be it for this episode. I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care.